Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to this afternoon session. I'll just be guiding you through a meditation on how to really love unconditionally in ordinary daily life and how to know God, which is based on today's workbook lesson, which is Workbook Lesson 127 from A Course in Miracles. So thought we'd have a look at that first. So if you're on video, I'm just going to share my screen. So have a look at the lesson, which is a beautiful one of my favorites. Says that key idea is that there is no love but God's. So I'm just going to read it to you and make a few comments as we go, and then we'll go into the meditation. There's no love but God's. Perhaps you think that different kinds of love are possible. Perhaps you think there is a kind of love for this, a kind for that, a way of loving one, another way of loving still another. But love is one, says Jesus. It has no separate parts and no degrees, no kinds, nor levels, no divergencies and no distinctions. It is like itself, unchanged throughout. It never alters with a person or a circumstance. It is the heart of God and also of His Son. God is love, so the heart of love, and the Son of God is love's extension. Well, it's pretty clear, but to actually live that way is really the question. How do you actually apply this? No shifts, no changes, no divergencies in your love, a constant state of perfect love. This is what Jesus is pointing to. This is the love of God, and this, He's saying, is the only kind of love. Anything else isn't actually love at all. So there's many things in this world that we mistake for love. We have love for other people, apparently special love. I love this person more than that because they're my family member, my mother, my father, my siblings, because they're my chosen partner in life. They're my child. There's many kinds of love in this world that seem to be love, but they have degrees, they have distinctions, they have variations. You seem to love someone more than someone else. All of that is part of the ego's thought system of separation. This is based on the idea that there are already separate people, separate entities, and you can love them differently. Some people you love more than others. The love's meaning, as Jesus says, obscure to anyone who thinks that love can change. You think that you can love someone more than others, then you think that love can change, by definition. He does not see that changing love must be impossible, unless he thinks that he can love at times and hate at other times. He also thinks that love can be bestowed on one and yet remain itself. although it is withheld from others. Talking about special love here. To believe these things of love is not to understand it. Could make such distinctions, could have to judge between the righteous and the sinner, and perceive the Son of God in separate parts, which is what the ego has done to our minds. We see people as separate from us, in separate parts. They are separate people, separate identities, encased in bodies, and this is what makes up the world we see. And so love is obscured to us because we think there really are separate selves, and that we can love certain people more than others. And so we don't understand this perfect unconditional love that Jesus is talking about, the love of God. And so he continues to explain this divine love by saying, love cannot judge. As it is one itself, it looks on all as one. Its meaning lies in oneness. And it must elude the mind that thinks of it as partial or in part. There is no love but God's, and all of love is his. There is no other principle that rules where love is not. Love is a law without an opposite. Its wholeness is the power holding everything as one, the link between the Father and the Son, source and its extension. It's another way of saying Father and Son, which holds them both forever as the same. Love is this fundamental principle of unity that has no opposite. It seems to have in this world. It seems to be an opposite to love, which is separation, specialness, and all of its consequences. Many rather unpleasant things that happen when we separate our mind from perfect love. Sin, the idea of sin. We've really separated from love, that we're guilty for this crime. We deserve to be punished, that we fear that punishment, that we then try and project our guilt outwards and attack others, or to offload the guilt onto them and help us to feel better. Which only increases the guilt and increases the fear of punishment. And so it goes, and that's what the ego has created, miscreated instead of perfect love. Any other principle is just lawless and chaotic. And there is actually no opposite to this love. This is the wholeness and the power, Jesus called it, that holds everything as one. So this is a fundamental underlying principle of unity. It really governs this entire universe. Science points to it, everything points to it. There is this interlinking, everything is interlinked, everything's connected. In quantum physics, it's called quantum entanglement. Everything is connected with everything else. Can't really say it as a separate thing. There was one explosion, they call the Big Bang, that birthed the physical universe. So everything came from that point. So everything's entangled. Came from a point of unity, descended into separation. But the unity is still there. It hasn't really gone away. It's just been obscured, covered over by other ideas. something other than love has entered our mind, and that seems to become the governing principle of our lives and of this world. But this love of God is still there, and is still available. And in truth, it's really the only thing. It's a law without an opposite, as Jesus says. The course, whose purpose is to teach you to remember what you really are, could fail to emphasize that there can never be a difference in what you really are and what love is. Love's meaning is your own and shared by God Himself. What you are is what He is. There is no love but He is. And what He is everything there is. There is no limit placed upon Himself, and so are you unlimited as well. There are no limits. Love is unlimited. Love is infinite. It is everywhere and everything. Anything else that we believe then must be illusory. It's not true. Any limitation on love is simply not true. And Jesus is emphasizing that we are love. His quote is, God is love. If you cannot love, then you cannot know God. God or love is what you are. It's quite helpful because God can be a mystical, unattainable concept somewhere out there, but love is a feeling that you can feel at any time. When you feel that unconditional love, you feel this expansive, infinite love. You can feel that towards everyone and everything, and you have the love of God, which is the only real love. And this is your true meaning. Love's meaning is your own, as Jesus says, shared by God Himself. What you are is what He is. So if there's only this one love, this one feeling, this is the true law, this is the governing principle, then there's complete unity. You feel it as God feels it. God feels it or experiences it through you. And other people share in this. It is their true nature as well. You can connect with this feeling, this essence of love in yourself. And then when you look at others, and you're interacting with them, speaking with them, communicating with them, apparently on a physical level, you might be talking to them. They seem to have bodies, speaking, communicating in other ways. We now have text messages and emails, social media, many ways of communicating from brothers. But if you can connect with that deeper feeling of love and then extend it to the person, see it in the other person, really, that's what that means. So you feel it in your own heart and mind, and then see that that is really the essence of this person as well. And this is what it means to unconditionally love someone. You, as a seemingly separate subject, person, cannot love a seemingly separate object, another person, or thing, or any entity. Because in that subject-object duality, you lose the meaning of love. Love is one, it's one feeling. One thought, one feeling. So it's about really feeling that in your own hearts. And then as you look out on others, you acknowledge, you recognize that that feeling must be in them as well. Although they may not be experiencing it right now. it is still the fundamental nature. It's still what they really are. It's still their highest potential. And so now you see that in them, and you recognize that they are the same as you. They have the same love. You just have to overlook all the interferences, all the distractions that the ego has put in place to prevent that, to see through all of that, the veil of illusion it's been called. And just recognize that the loving essence or presence in you is also in others. And that is what it means to unconditionally love someone or something else. You simply recognize that you share one love. You share the essence of that love. Even if they're not experiencing it themselves. You remind them of their true nature. You remind them that they have the potential to experience it. So let's continue with this really profound lesson. So no law, says Jesus, that the world obeys can help you grasp love's meaning. What the world believes was made to hide love's meaning, to keep it dark and secret. There is not one principle the world upholds that violates the truth of what love is and what you are as well. Seek not within the world to find yourself. Love is not found in darkness and in death. Jesus is telling us we're not going to find it in this world. The world is made to hide love's meaning, to keep it dark and secret. Not one principle the world upholds that violates the truth of what love is and what you are as well. Wow. Saying principles that uphold the world, principles of separation, violate the truth of what love is and what you are as well. So do not look where you will not find it. If you look in the world, you're looking at the projection of a dark thought that seemed to separate us from love. That's all the world is. So you will not find love in darkness and in death. In the projections of a dark mind, a split mind, seems to have split itself off from its source, from love. Yet, it is perfectly apparent to the eyes that see and the ears that hear love's voice. Today we practice making free your mind of all the laws you think you must obey, of all the limits under which you live, and all the changes that you think are part of human destiny. Today we take the largest single step this course requests in your advance towards its established goal. So he's telling us this lesson is kind of important. The largest single step this course requests in advance towards its established goal. This is an important lesson. Asking us to let it all go. Let go of all other ideas, all the limits under which we seem to live, all the changes that we think are part of human destiny. Things that we're destined to be born, to have a childhood, to grow up, we go into adulthood, try and make our way in the world. We slowly age, the body decays, we retire, and eventually we die. That seems to be human destiny. He's saying these changes, this cycle of our lives, is not ultimately true. So this is a massive step. And if you achieve the faintest glimmering of what love means today, you've advanced in distance without measure and in time, beyond the count of years to your release. Let us together then be glad to give some time to God today and understand there is no better use for time than this. So this is all preparation for meditation. So I'll take you into now. So this is just about escaping from every law in which you now believe. Opening your mind and resting. The world that seems to hold you prisoner can be escaped by anyone who does not hold it dear. Draw all the value that you've placed upon its meager offerings and senseless gifts. And let the gift of God replace them all. Call to your Father, certain that his voice will answer. Your source. And the source will answer. He himself or loving source, if you prefer, not to personalize God, has promised this. And he himself, or love itself, will place a spark of truth within your mind. Wherever you give up a false belief, a dark illusion of your own reality, and what love means, it will shine through your idle thoughts today and help you understand the truth of love. In loving gentleness, he will abide with you as you allow his voice to teach love's meaning to your clean and open mind. And he will bless the lesson with his love. And so today, the legion of future years of waiting for salvation disappears before the timelessness of what you learn. Let us give thanks today that we are spared a future like the past. Today we leave the past behind us, never more to be remembered. We raise our eyes upon a different present, where a future dawns unlike the past in every attribute. It's talking about complete change of mind, transformation of mind, being reborn in the spirit. This is what it means to be reborn in truth. It's not just about saying I've accepted Jesus into my life and I'm saved. That doesn't really mean anything. It means that you open your mind to the very source of life itself, this loving essence that we call God. And then you see differently. You see everything differently. The world of infancy is newly born in this new perception. And we'll watch it grow in health and strength to shed its blessing upon all who come to learn to cast aside the world they thought was made in hate to be love's enemy. Now are they all made free, along with us. Now are they all our brothers in God's love. So I'm going to take you into a meditation now. In the WhatsApp group, I'll do it in a separate recording, so listen to that. I'll guide you through this lesson, and a little practice could be really helpful in helping you to experience unconditional love in your daily life. So that's really what it's about. Today's quote is, let's bring it up quickly. Today's quote is from the Bible, actually, the book of John, which is really the truest sense of the word, from the word. Absolutely true statement in the Bible from the book of John. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. And so it's only when we can actually love we experience God. So I'll take you into meditation where you experience the love of God, and you extend that to a chosen brother. And you can apply this technique all the time in all your interactions with all your brothers to experience what we call unconditional love. So it's not about unconditionally loving someone else. It's about recognizing, feeling the love in you, and then acknowledging, recognizing that it's also in them. So I'll take you into the meditation now. So just making yourself comfortable, sitting with your feet shoulder width apart, back straight, cup your hands in your lap. Close your eyes. And just start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, so breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises, the chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Clench the sphincter muscles, so you lock the energy in. That's the muscle that you use to contract the flow of urine or squeeze the last drops out. And you should feel a nice, warm, tingling energy flowing up your spine into your heart center. Put one hand on your heart, connecting with your heart space. Drawing this loving presence or life energy up the spine into the crown of the head. Pause at the top of the inhale. Take another sip of air in. Just observe your mind, so just noticing all thoughts, all emotions you experience. And anything that's not quite love. All kinds of thoughts and emotions about other people, things, places, events, the world. It seem to be shifts. There's not only one complete unbroken presence going on in our mind. It seems to be many things. It seems to be many degrees and divergencies in our thinking. One person's done this, so they don't deserve our love as much as someone else. Just look at all of these beliefs for a while. Breathe into them. And you can see that this is really pretty confused and confusing. None of this makes any sense. As Jesus says, these are meager offerings and senseless gifts. But you can withdraw all value that you placed upon these meager offerings and senseless gifts. Let the gift of God, which is this one loving presence, replace them all. So observe the thoughts, maybe the emotions that show up, maybe that shows up physically in your body. Just be willing now to let them go. Let the gift of God, this one love, divine love, replace them all. As you exhale, just releasing, blowing it all out. The breeze of your breath into the nothingness that it really is. Letting it all go. Lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And you just rest here. Rest in the love of God. For a few moments, just experience sense of openness, of emptiness. What you're doing here is calling to your Father, your source, certain that his voice will answer, not necessarily in words, but just as an experience. Because this source, God, has promised us since time began, this source calling to you. Place a spark of truth within your mind, wherever you give up a false belief, a dark illusion of your own reality and what love means. So breathe in again. Imagine breathing in the very essence of this loving presence. Breathing it into your mind, into your heart. Fusing. Every part of your body, every cell, every muscle, every corner of your mind. In this one love, let it shine through the idle thoughts. You notice any thoughts at all, they're not relevant. There's no thought in terms of subject, object, perceptual thought that's required in this one love. Just let this pure, empty, calm, spacious awareness shine through your mind. If there are any idle thoughts there, just blow them away. The breeze of your breath. These clouds have no power to obscure the eternal light of your source, the eternal light of love. Let it shine through your mind and help you experientially understand the truth of love. Loving gentleness. Will abide with you, this presence. As you allow his voice to teach love's meaning to your clean and open mind. You will bless the lesson with his love. You just experience this love. Connect with it deeply, breathing in and out through your nose. Observing subtle sensations of the breath flowing into the nostrils and out of the nostrils. Bring your mind into the present moment. It's only in the present moment that love can unfold. It is not in the past and the future. These are mental constructs, just ideas that obscure this loving presence from your mind. They keep your mind preoccupied. They keep you on the timeline. There's this loving presence designed to free you from the timeline. Free you from the need for time and space and all the things that seem to happen. They're all pointless. This is what Jesus is saying. These are just a covering over love. A veil of illusion. Connect with this deep love, this pure formless awareness. It's another way of describing love. And you see that everything else is just a distraction. It's a covering. Your mind has invented the entire world, the entire universe, simply to distract your mind from the one love that is your source, to convince you that there is really something else going on, there's other kinds of love, which you can seek and find and pursue, and they will make you happy. but never now. Always in the future. If you keep seeking, looking for love outside of you, in other people. It's called special relationships in the course's terminology, in experiences, in things and possessions. Looking for something to complete us when all along this loving presence, this loving gentleness, Jesus speaks about, is in us, it abides in us, it's in our deeper mind. And so all we have to do is turn within and just let go of these thoughts about the world and all the happenings, people, places, events, circumstances. And love will arise in our clean and open minds. In loving gentleness, love will abide with you as you allow its voice to teach love's meaning to your clean and open mind. And God or love will bless the lesson with its love. And so I invite you to experience this essence, presence. A couple of minutes of deep silence. There's nowhere else to go, there's nothing else to do. Nothing else to think about. Please relax, be still, and allow this loving presence to arise in your mind and your heart. It's complete, it's whole, it's perfect. There's nothing you need to add to it, so thought is not required. No thinking will get you there. Notice thoughts arising, just observe them casually and dismiss them. Knowing they're really just distractions, they're irrelevant. You're going for the love of God here, the eternal, infinite loving source of your mind, or a full experience of that. The next couple of minutes, as Jesus says, this is the largest single step that this course requests in advance towards its established goal. So let's take it now. Just keep watching your breath, breathing in and out through your nose. Focusing all your attention on the subtle sensations of the nostrils. And you might need to focus on not thinking, just observing the breath. And allow this loving presence in your mind to shine in your mind, to stream through your awareness. Just experience it fully. Smile as you are in the love of God. The source of your mind is arising powerfully now in your mind to reveal itself to you, to fulfill the promise that was made when you made the mad decision to separate from it. And one day it would return to your awareness. One day you would return to it, it would return to you. There would be a unity once more in your mind. The Father, which is perfect love, and the source of your being, and your mind, which seems to have lost its way, but can restore itself to this love. So just breathing in and out through your nose, sinking in and experiencing this perfect love of God. A couple of minutes of deep silence. And if any thoughts arise, just notice them. They're completely irrelevant, whatever you're thinking about. So just observe them casually, knowing that they mean nothing. And then choose to let them go. Imagine they're like clouds just drifting by, being blown away. The breeze of your breath. Let the light of love, its eternal source, in your mind just shine through, streaming into your awareness, completing. There's only this one love, one loving presence, the very essence of you, the essence of all reality. Just experience it, feel it. It's in everywhere. It's everything. It's in every cell of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is enveloped, consumed, becomes this loving essence, this presence, the divine love of God. In the next minutes of deep silence, just rest in this presence. And so now, I want you to bring to mind a person. Bring to mind a person who might be feeling less than loving towards. I've had some difficulties with that. Arguments, conflicts. I've done something that you didn't like, seemingly hurt you. So bring them to mind, just observe these lacks of love blowing through your mind. Any thoughts that are not this perfect, open, spacious awareness that hopefully you just experienced are by definition illusory. They come and they go, they shift and they change. There is only one love and one experience, then these must be illusion. So you let them go, you just observe them casually. You know what they are, just distracted devices, just ego tempting you to believe in its thought system. And so you're just going to blow them away. Blow them away with the breeze of your breath. And the nothingness they really are. And you restore your mind to the essence, this feeling of openness, some infinite expanse of feeling that transcends all the laws in which you now believe. It transcends this world and its meager offerings and senseless gifts. Feel this infinite, eternal, loving presence deeply in your mind. And now, all you have to do is bring this person to mind and acknowledge that this same presence is in them. What it means to extend love. You see that the same presence or essence of love that you're feeling right now is in them. That's all you have to do. It's not you as a subject loving another person, object. It's you as divine love, as who you really are, recognizing that same love in the other person. That is their essence too. That's the foundation of their mind. Because it's the foundation of yours. So as you see it in yourself, you can see it in them. This is what forgiveness really means, just a restoration of your mind to an awareness of this essence. You can use all your relationships to help you do this. Simply by bringing to mind this essence, by connecting with it. If anything's blocking that connection, any thoughts and emotions that may be triggered by someone else, then you observe those and you just let them go. And they're just like clouds, idle thoughts, just drifting by in a different order of reality. Clouds are a kilometer or two above the surface of the earth. The sky is infinite by comparison. It's the entirety of space that gives the sky its blue color, sitting behind, and then the sun shining through, shining its light again in another order of reality, 80 million miles away from Earth, completely different scale from the clouds. Maybe that analogy helps you just to connect with the really infinite, eternal nature. If you can experience it in yourself, experience it in others. Feel it in yourself, and you see that it must therefore be in others as well. You cannot not and if you can experience it in yourself, if someone has done something that apparently disturbs that peace, restore your mind to it. And when you see that it must be in them too, this is forgiveness. And restored your mind, an awareness of love. The purpose of ego is to disrupt that communication. It uses other people to do that all the time. Just for a minute or so, feel a loving presence in your mind, and extending to this other person. And not just acknowledge it in them, it's in them too. And you feel that that is the absolute truth. What you're experiencing now, this loving presence, must also be in them. Beyond all of the illusions, beyond all the egoic thoughts and emotions, whatever they may have said or done from the ego perspective is overlooked. It's simply not there. It's not real. Because only this loving essence is real. So just experience it in yourself and experience it in others. In the next minute of deep silence, just acknowledge love of God in your own mind and in your brother. And so gently bring yourself out, come back. With the thought that I bless you, brother, Say to this person, I bless you, brother. It's the love of God which I would share with you. I would learn the joyous lesson that there is no love but God's, and yours and mine and everyone's. Really feel that loving presence or essence. Which you really do want to share with your brother. This is your own salvation. As you see others, so you see yourself. You see the love of God in them, you must see it in yourself. The essence in you recognizes the essence in them. This is what unconditional love means, simply to experience this. So, carrying this unconditional love with you in your heart, and to take it into all your interactions today and in the week ahead. Whenever you meet someone, whenever you speak to them, whether they're physically present or not, even if you're sending a text message or an email, just feel this essence. Take a few moments just to feel the essence in you and acknowledge it in them. That same presence or essence is in them as well. And this is how you live in a state of unconditional love. Just keep connecting with your essence, reminding yourself that other people have the same essence. And then watch how that changes the interactions with them. This is what it means to unconditionally love others. And find if you can do this, that absolutely transformational in your life experience is so much about your relationships with other people and interactions with other people. Just changes. You can experience joy. Joy is a natural consequence of acknowledging love in your mind and in others. Joy and happiness, peace are a consequence of this unconditional love, which you just learned how to connect with and then how to recognize in others. I'll say one more time, I bless you, brother. It's the person that you brought to mind with the love of God, which I would share with you. I would learn the joyous lesson that there is no love but God's and yours and mine and everyone's. So now I'm going to read you today's text reading from section 9 of chapter 15, entitled The Holy Instance of the Attraction of God. So in this quiet, calm state, connected deeply with God, just let these words permeate into your awareness. You have to intellectually understand them, feel into them, feel the love that shines through these words. Nothing else you have to do. Understanding will come of itself. If you listen in this way, listen with your heart. And just keep watching your breath. Breathing in and out through your nose. Observing the subtle sensations of the breath in your nostrils. Touch of the breath just below your nose. Keep your mind open in the present moment. It's open to what Jesus calls the great rays. Let's hear what he has to say about the holy instance and the attraction of God. So as the ego would limit your perception of your brothers to the body, so would the Holy Spirit release your vision and let you see the great rays shining from them. So unlimited that they reach to God. And you can get a sense of this. This is the divine love, the image of great rays shining from them. So bring the same brother to mind and just imagine great rays of brilliant light shining from this person. Connecting you and them to God. There's this shift of vision that is accomplished in the holy instant. Yet it is needful for you to learn just what the shift entails. So you will become willing to make it permanent. Given this willingness, it will not leave you, for it is permanent. Once you've accepted it as the only perception you want, it is translated into knowledge, and the part that God Himself, love itself, plays in the atonement. Or I prefer saying atonement. Or is the only step that He understands. We want only this perception, only to see the unconditional love in our brothers and in ourselves. Therefore, in this, there will be no delay. We're ready for it. God is ready now, but you are not. So this formless awareness, pure formless awareness, pure loving presence or essence, God, whatever you want to call it, is ready now. It's always there, always been there. But you are not. This is the problem. Our minds are not ready to accept only this. So our task, says Jesus, is but to continue as fast as possible the necessary process of looking straight at all interference and seeing it exactly as it is. Talking about the interference that the ego has created. Thoughts, emotions, sensations that seem to deny love, seem to occupy our minds with other thoughts and emotions that are not perfectly loving and peaceful and happy and joyful. For it is impossible to recognize as wholly without gratification what you think you want. Body is the symbol of the ego, as the ego is a symbol of separation. Both are nothing more than attempts to limit communication and thereby to make it impossible. For communication must be unlimited in order to have meaning, and deprived of meaning will not satisfy you completely. Yet it remains the only means by which you can establish real relationships, which have no limits, having been established by God. Body is the symbol of the ego. Ego is the symbol of the separation. An idea, just an idea of separation. That's all the ego is. From that came a separate identity. That separate identity needed to produce bodies. All of this is nothing more than an attempt to limit communication with your source. The communication must be unlimited in order to have meaning. Deprived of meaning will not satisfy you completely. This communication is really the recognition of love in another. It remains the only means by which you can establish real relationships, which have no limits. These are the holy relationships, the course text, established by God, this eternal loving presence. So in the holy instant, where the great rays replace the body in awareness, recognition of relationships without limits is given you. But in order to see this, it is necessary to give up every use the ego has for the body and to accept the fact that the ego has no purpose you would share with it. So can you do that now? Just breathe in and you look at your body and you're willing to give up every use the ego has for the body. The ego uses the body to get what it thinks it wants. It uses it to try and experience pleasure. It uses it for pain. It uses it to confirm that pain is real. Sickness and suffering, bodily suffering, body conditions are all part of the ego's self-identification. And all of this is illusion. So acknowledge that, because while you think it has a purpose, you will choose to utilize the means by which it tries to turn its purpose into accomplishment. But this will never be accomplished, says Jesus. So we try and make the separation real. We project it onto the body, our bodies, other bodies. And we misperceive. We try and make the ego's goals real. And so this will never be accomplished because they aren't real. They have no substance. They will not last in the presence of love. Yet you have surely recognized that the ego, whose goals are altogether unattainable, will strive for them with all its might. And will do so with the strength that you have given it. So the ego is only powerful because we invest our minds in it. Our minds are powerful instruments. That power comes from God, but we misuse it and focus on egoic goals, then we are giving power to the ego and denying power to the spirit. Jesus says it is impossible to divide your strength between heaven and hell, God and the ego, and release your power to creation, which is the only purpose for which it is given you. It's the only purpose. Releasing our power to creation, acknowledging perfect, pure, formless, and unconditional love. So the love would always give increase. Limits are demanded by the ego and represent its demands to make little of an ineffection. Limit your sight of a brother to his body, which you will do as long as you would not release him from it, and you have denied his gift to you. His body cannot give it, and seek it not through yours. But your minds are already continuous, and the union need only be accepted, and the loneliness in heaven is gone. So again, just pause and reflect on this brother that you meditated on, you extended, recognize the love that is in your mind and him. And focus on that only. You overlook his body or her body. The body doesn't matter at all. Just a distraction device created by the ego to seemingly confirm that separation is real. We all have separate bodies, living apparently separate lives, going their separate ways, and yet all of this is the ego, as Jesus is saying. Limit your sight of a brother to his body. Then you keep the ego going, and you have denied his gift. You've denied the loving essence that is available always to you. And his body cannot give it. His body cannot give it. And seek it not through yours. Just see that your mind's already continuous. There's one essence, one love. It's continuous, unbroken loving God. And their union in this love would only be accepted, and the loneliness in heaven is gone. So you feel this love now. Feel it deeply in your own heart and mind. And then know that it's also in the heart and mind of this other person, seemingly other person. And you recognize the love that is you and that is them, then the loneliness in heaven is gone. So if you would but let the Holy Spirit tell you of the love of God for you, the need your creations have to be with you forever, you would experience the attraction of the eternal. No one can hear him speak of this and long remain willing to linger here. For it is your will to be in heaven, and you are complete and quiet in such sure and loving relationships that any limit is impossible. Would you not exchange your little relationships for this? For the body is little and limited, and only those whom you would see without the limits the ego would impose on it can offer you the gift of freedom. So just reflect on that. It's your will to be in heaven. One with this loving presence and essence, which hopefully you've connected with very deeply in this meditation, where you are complete and quiet. Such sure and loving relationships that any limit is impossible. You are in the love of God. Would you not exchange your little relationships for this? Little relationships based on specialness, based on bodies. Body is just little and limited. Only those whom you would see without the limits that you would impose on them can offer you the gift of freedom. So look once again at your brother. bring his body to mind. And just see that it's an image. The body is not who he is. He is a mind, just the same as you, born of the one mind. One mind is still in him as it is in you. Let yourself have this experience of no limits between you. Beyond them. It says you have no conception of the limits that you've placed on your perception, and no idea of all the loveliness that you could see. But this you must remember: the attraction of guilt opposes the attraction of God. His attraction for you remains unlimited, but because your power, being his, is as great as his, you can turn away from love. We have power in our minds, and we can misuse that power to turn away from love, to make another decision. And then, once you invest in guilt, you withdraw from God. Guilt and God are antithetical, in conflict, apparently. And if you invest in God, invest in guilt rather than God, then your sight grows weak and dim and limited, and you've attempted to separate the Father from the Son and limit their communication. Seek not at one moment in further separation. And limit not your vision of God's Son to what interferes with his release, what the Holy Spirit must undo to set him free. His belief in limits has imprisoned him. So just breathe in this infinite, eternal, freeing presence of love. Feel that it's completely transcendent of the body. Body has no impact on it. Again, experience this loving presence in your brother as you bring him to mind. Just acknowledge that this presence is his presence, his essence. This is his entire reality, and his body is meaningless. And then when you overcome the body and all the limits that it symbolizes, and when the body ceases to attract you, when you place no value on it as a means of getting anything, then there will be no interference in communication, and your thoughts will be as free as God's. As you exhale, blowing it all out, the breeze of the breath. Just resting in this place of perfect communication. Thoughts are free as God's. You're in the awareness of this loving presence, you're in the light. As you let the Holy Spirit teach you how to use the body only for purposes of communication. Renounce its use for separation and attack. The ego sees in it. You will learn you have no need of a body. That's all. In the holy instant, there are no bodies, and you experience only the attraction of God. Accepting it as undivided, you join him wholly in an instant, where you would place no limits on your union with him. The reality of this relationship becomes the only truth that you could ever want. All truth is here. So just to close the meditation, again for a couple of minutes, just rest in this holy instant, the now, in which there are no bodies. Do not hold your body or anyone else's body in mind. Just connect deeply with the very essence of your mind and everyone's mind. And it's shining through your mind, showing you that all of these words I've shared with you are true. Not as some abstract theory, but as a felt experience of your beingness. There's nowhere else to go, there's nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Breathe, relax, be still. Surrender into this love of God, which is the truth of what you are and what all your brothers are, for the next 2 minutes of deep silence. So very gently, just coming back in this deep state of connectedness into your body, awareness of body, the senses, the breath, and the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises, the chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Smiling as you do that. Noticing clenching of your sphincter muscle, energy rising up the spine to your heart center, then on up into the crown of your head, pausing at the top of the inhale. Again, just scan your mind. It's just pure formless awareness, just an empty, open, spacious awareness, and you're feeling very clear, calm, and connected to this loving presence. You're feeling the love in your mind. Just acknowledge it, feel grateful for it, give thanks for it. If there's anything else showing up, any scattered, distracting thoughts about the past, the future, what you're going to do, the rest of the day, the week ahead, problems in your life. Just observe them casually, have a little laugh. So these are really nothing. Just cloud patterns that you have pulled over the face of love. Seemingly obscure love, but once I see through the clouds, they have no substance. I can just release them. So exhale out through the mouth, and imagine just releasing any thoughts and emotions that seem to block the awareness of love's presence, clearing your mind so that you can experience this presence fully, wholly, and completely. Pull the stomach into the spine. Notice how the energy raised up into the crown just subsided back down the front channel of your body, coming to rest in your lower stomach and your groin. While your attention is down there, just noticing the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground, noticing what you're feeling and touching. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth, a smell in your nose. Notice that, notice what you're hearing around the environment. And just noticing all these things from this very still, calm, serene state of mind. There's no judgment, so you don't have to name anything, or judge it, or label it. Just allow it to be as it is. Notice how sense perceptions arise in your awareness and then they pass away. So it just arises and passes away. That's happening all the time. And if you don't attach to any of the shifting, changing illusions of this world, then you stay rooted in divine awareness. You stay in the love of God. So feel that presence in the heart, in the mind. Acknowledge it in your brother that you brought to mind, helped you to find it, and all your brothers. Feel like you're acknowledging and recognizing it in everyone, because it is there, irrespective of their illusions about themselves. And so now on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. Just take a minute to look around the room or wherever you happen to be, observing casually various objects in the room around you. Let your eyes rest for a few moments on any object, just randomly. And notice that there's this underlying peace, underlying stillness. It's not really connected to the object. It's not about the form of the object. So you don't have to name it or judge it, interpret it, label it in any way. It's underlying essence, which is the divine essence of love that hopefully you've connected with very deeply over the last hour, is there. It's in your awareness. And then move on to something else. Look at something else. Again, randomly, don't particularly select anything or avoid anything. Whatever you happen to see for a few moments, and notice that this underlying awareness is there. It's the same. It doesn't matter what object you're looking at. The underlying awareness is the same, and this is what enlightened perception means. To stay rooted in this love, this presence of love, no matter what your body's eyes and ears and senses perceive. You simply don't interpret this. You don't let the mind hijack the sense perception and create interpretation and meaning, because that makes them real, and that subtly but profoundly covers over your awareness of this loving presence. So for the rest of the afternoon, whenever you happen to meet someone personally, in person, or if you're thinking about them, or if you're communicating with them in any way, just take a few moments. It only needs to take a few moments, seconds, just to connect with the loving presence in you. So you can pause, you just breathe in, connect with this presence of love in your mind. And then you say, I bless you, brother, the love of God. So I would share with you. It's simply recognizing the same essence, presence of love is in them. Well, I would learn the joyous lesson that there is no love that counts, and yours and mine and everyone's. There is only one love. If you feel it in yourself and you recognize it in others, this is how to experience unconditional love in your daily life, in all your interactions with people, which characterize most people's lives. You interact with people all the time. And this is how you come to know God, because as John said, to know God is to know love. And if you cannot love, then you cannot know God. So it's how you very practically take these teachings and you apply them in your life to experience really what is pretty extraordinary. You can experience the love of God moment by moment. You feel this infinite, eternal, loving presence. That is an extraordinary, ordinary life, and that is a miracle. So thank you for listening to the meditation and session. It brings the meditation and the session to an end. To top yourself up, is to use the, for those in the community, the shorter breath break that I sent you. It's about 3 minutes. Just to top you up every hour, or just a moment will do to reconnect with this loving presence. And make it your practice to feel that. If you're interacting with anyone, to just take a few moments to connect with this loving presence. You can do it while you're talking to someone. It's just a breath. It's a feeling in your heart. And then in that moment, you recognize that that essence is also them. It's their essence. So when you bring unconditional love into all of your interactions and your relationships, every encounter becomes a holy encounter. And you live in the domain of the miraculous. And you live in a state of unconditional love for yourself and others. So I wish you good practicing and a very loving and flowing afternoon. Thanks for listening. And hope to see you in one session soon. Namaste. For those who are watching this on YouTube, still on YouTube, then if you'd like to join these sessions, do join us for a free masterclass this Thursday evening, happening at 7 p.m. That's 7 p.m. South African time, 8 p.m. UK time, where I talk about this program, talk about how you can use it to really transform your mind into a state of unconditional love and experience an extraordinary, ordinary life. So join us then. Go to theaolg.com. That's theaolg.com to find out more and register for the next session every Thursday. So whenever you're watching this, it'll be the coming Thursday. Thanks very much, and Namaste, which means the divine love in me acknowledges and honors that same divine love and presence in you.